single dad was having tea alone until triplet girls whispered, "Pretend you're our father." Marcus Sterling's teacup had gone cold. He sat alone at table 12, surrounded by the sparkle and laughter of strangers celebrating love, while his own heart remained frozen 3 years in the past. The wedding reception blurred around him, a watercolor of champagne and silk and joy. He could no longer feel. He was reaching for his wallet when 3 small shadows fell across his table. Marcus looked up into 6 terrified eyes. Triplet girls, perhaps 7 years old, in matching pink dresses with white ribbons trembling in their blonde hair. The middle one grabbed his sleeve with desperate fingers. "Please, sir," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Pretend you're our father. There's a man following us and no one believes us." Before Marcus could respond, all 3 girls pressed against him, their small bodies trembling like frightened birds. His journalist instincts, dormant since Caroline's death, suddenly roared to life. "Which man?" he asked quietly, placing a protective arm around them. The boldest girl pointed subtly toward the bar. A man in a wrinkled gray suit stood there, phone in hand, his eyes locked on their table. When he noticed Marcus looking, he turned away too quickly. Everything in Marcus's body went cold. 20 years as an investigative reporter had taught him to recognize predators, and this man radiated wrong. "What are your names?" Marcus kept his voice calm, fatherly. "I'm Emma," said the bold one. "That's Sophia and that's Olivia. Our mama died 6 months ago. We live with Aunt Rachel now, but she thinks we're making things up. She says we need therapy, not attention." "You're not making anything up," Marcus said firmly. He pulled out his phone, typing quickly to his friend Detective Sarah Chen. "Emergency. Wedding at Grand Hotel. Possible predator targeting children. Get here now." "Does he know your aunt?" Marcus asked. "We don't think so," Sophia whispered. "He started following us at the park last week. Then we saw him at the library. Now he's here." Marcus's blood ran ice cold. This wasn't random. This was stalking. "Listen to me," he said, looking each girl in the eyes. "I'm going to protect you. My name is Marcus, and I believe you. Do you trust me?" 3 small heads nodded. "Then call me Dad, stay close, and smile like we're having fun." "Can you do that?" "Yes." "Dad?" Emma tested the word, and her sisters echoed it. Their relief was so profound it broke Marcus's heart. He launched into animated conversation about cake and dancing, but his eyes never left the man at the bar. The stranger's body language had changed, shoulders tense, jaw clenched, eyes narrowed. He was angry that his targets now had protection. "Girls," Marcus said casually, "let's go find your Aunt Rachel. I'd love to meet her." They wove through the crowd, Marcus positioning his body as a shield. He could feel the man's eyes burning into his back. Aunt Rachel was a frazzled woman in her 30s, deep in conversation with the bride. When she saw the triplets clinging to a strange man, her face cycled through confusion, fear, and anger. "Girls, who are you?" She stepped between Marcus and her nieces. "Marcus Sterling, ma'am. Your nieces came to me because they're being followed. The man in the gray suit at the bar has been stalking them." Rachel's face flushed. "Not this again. Girls, we talked about this. You can't keep saying every man you see is following you." "I'm so sorry, Mr. Sterling. They've had a hard time since their mother." "Ms. Rachel," Marcus interrupted gently but firmly, "I'm a former investigative journalist. I've spent 20 years identifying predators. The man at the bar has been watching them for 30 minutes. He followed their movements. When I made it clear they were under protection, his demeanor became aggressive. I've already called a detective friend. She's on her way." Rachel's face went white. "Are you serious?" "Completely. Look at him yourself." He guided her to a position with a clear view. The man was on his phone now, but every few seconds, his gaze drifted to where the girls stood with a hotel staff member. Marcus had quietly enlisted. "See how he positions himself?" Marcus murmured. "Clear line of sight to exits. Never settling. That's tactical awareness. That's hunting behavior." Rachel swayed and Marcus steadied her. "Oh my God," she breathed. "They tried to tell me. At the park, at the library, I thought they were traumatized. Seeing danger everywhere. What kind of guardian am I? The kind who's listening now, Marcus said. Let's get them somewhere safe. They corralled the girls into a small office. Marcus stood guard at the door while Rachel called hotel security, her hands shaking as she apologized over and over to her nieces. Detective Sarah Chen arrived 15 minutes later like an avenging angel. After a quick briefing, she coordinated with security to review footage. An hour later, she returned with murder in her eyes. His name is David Marsh. He's on the sex offender registry. Violation from 15 years ago. He's been spotted at 6 different locations where children gather in the past 2 months. We're arresting him now. The hotel footage shows him photographing the girls. Rachel collapsed into a chair, pulling the triplets close. Marcus felt sick. These brave little girls had been right all along, and the adults had failed them. Mr. Sterling, Olivia said softly, will you stay with us? Just until he's gone. Marcus looked at Sarah, who nodded. I'm not leaving, he promised. Hours later, Marcus sat in a quiet cafe with Rachel and the girls. The wedding was over, the predator in custody, but none of them could quite shake the horror of what might have happened. I don't know how to thank you, Rachel said. Her eyes were red from crying. My sister, their mother, she always trusted the girls' instincts. She said children can sense danger, but I thought I knew better. Her voice broke. You corrected course when it mattered, Marcus said. That's what counts. Why did you believe us right away? Emma asked suddenly. Aunt Rachel loves us, but even she didn't believe us. You didn't even know us. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Because, he said finally, someone I loved very much taught me to listen to people when they're afraid, even if I don't understand why. And because I know what it feels like to be dismissed when you know something is wrong. Who taught you that? Sophia asked. My wife, her name was Caroline. Marcus smiled sadly. She died 3 years ago. She was a social worker who protected children. She would have believed you immediately. Is that why you were sad? Olivia whispered. At the wedding, before we came to you. You looked so sad. Yes, Marcus admitted. Weddings make me miss her. We understand, Emma said solemnly. We miss our mama every single day. The 3 girls looked at each other. That mysterious triplet communication happening in silence. Then Emma spoke for all of them. Maybe our mama sent us to you. Maybe she and your wife wanted us to find each other. It was such simple faith, such childlike wisdom. And it cracked something open in Marcus's chest that had been sealed shut for 3 years. Maybe they did, he whispered. That should have been the end of the story. A chance encounter, a crisis averted, a grateful goodbye. But Emma asked if they could write to him. Rachel, seeing something shift in both Marcus and the girls, agreed. Letters became weekly emails. Emails became video calls. Video calls became monthly visits. Marcus taught the girls self-defense and situational awareness. He showed them how to trust their instincts without living in fear. Rachel and her husband David welcomed him into their family with open arms. On the first anniversary of that day, the girls surprised him with a homemade cake that read, "Thank you for being our dad." "I'm not really your dad," Marcus protested weakly. "You're the dad who chose us," Emma said simply. "That counts more." 2 years later, Marcus published a children's book about trusting your instincts and speaking up when you're scared. He dedicated it to Caroline, who taught him to listen, and to 3 brave girls who taught him to love again. 5 years later, when Emma called him in a panic because a boy at school wouldn't leave Sophia alone, Marcus drove 2 hours to have a chat with the principal. The boy was suspended. You didn't have to do that, Rachel said, but she was smiling. Yes, I did, Marcus replied. I'm their dad. And he was, not by blood or law, but by choice. By that moment in a crowded ballroom when 3 frightened girls whispered a request to a broken man, and both were saved.